Welcome to your Networth's Network. I'm your host, CoreyMcnabb, and this is a networking style podcast where we bring on special guests and we have them talk about themselves, talk about their business, and then figure out how we can all work together. My goal in life is to rise to a place of excellence, and I want to bring you with me. That being said, let's bring up our special guest, Mr. Timothy DeGroot.
What's happening?
What is up?
I
How you
like
doing?
the place of excellence. I'm doing well, man. It's a cloudy day here and the ATL, but spring is in the air, so feeling
Yes, it is.
that.
My daffodils are blooming, and I'm like, oh, I hope they don't die out.
Yes. Well, they will, and then they might come back.
Yeah, hopefully. So, give the audience a little preface. We know each other, obviously, and
Good
even
guy.
though his name is Timothy, we've kind of agreed he prefers if I call him Timo. So that's just what I'm used to calling you. So if you're watching this and you hear me call him Timo, that's what I call him. Is anybody else cool calling you that?
My wife, she's the one that came up with it, and then everybody has agreed that it's the funnest iteration of my name. So yes,
Okay, cool.
Anybody and everybody that would like that, that is feels good.
Okay. So, see, guys, even though I'm this good looking, I'm not special. You can call him Timo as well. So, Timo, give us a little background about yourself.
So I went to art school, and as an artist, created my whole life. I just didn't do well in school, academics. It just wasn't for me, but I did excel in anything creative. So I knew if I was going to go to college, which I waited 2 years to do, that I would go to art school. I waited 2 years. I moved back to Miami, where I'm from Columbia, South Carolina at the time, and went to just construction work. I just didn't want to go directly into school. So I went into construction work or day-to-day sales, whatever I could just kind of get out of school, working on my own, paying my own bills, just kind of figuring it out for myself before I dedicated 4 years to school. Eventually figured, all right, done with that, want to move toward a future career. So I wanted to do computer animation. Moved to Atlanta and went to Atlanta College of Art. And my first year, I realized that computer animation was not what I wanted to be doing. It was a very sterile room. It was white. It was not even Macintosh computers. It was a knockoff of Macintosh computers at the time. So I went down to the sculpture room and I saw all these kids getting super dirty and like just building and welding and creating and pulling trash and just destroying and recompiling into art. I loved it. Then I went in the painting room. Everybody's super dirty. Again, hands dirty, paint everywhere. I was like, oh, this speaks to me. I've always liked that type of art. I just thought, the future was computer. This was a while back. Obviously it is now with AI and such, but it was before any of that happened. So I really dug into getting dirty and being a sculptor and a painter. But what I learned really quickly in art school was that if you're going to do anything in art school, you got to really put your mind to it and be dedicated, because there's a lot of rich kids that go to art school because it's the easy thing to do. So I saw kids in come and go. My first 3 semesters, freshman, sophomore, and I see kids come and go. And I'm like, what's the secret sauce here? I quickly learned that the art teachers, they're teaching opinion. They're pretty much failed artists. They're really not teaching you anything, maybe a little technique here and there, but they're teaching you, this is what we think is good. And if you want to be in the art world, you're going to suck up to all the people in the galleries, and that's how you're going to become successful, which I've never been a suck up. So more punk rock, looking around and thinking, okay, so what's the play? I started seeing all my friends starting little business, a graphic design business, a video editing business. I chose DJ. I started doing audio production in school. I had a French friend and a German friend. We bought some turntables and we started DJing. And so that became my hustle. And many, many, many years later, I've turned it into a full-fledged career, travel the world, open for Bruno Mars, Billy Joel, Gwen Stefani, just to name a few. So that was, what I learned in art school was create a hustle. That hustle moved into many different areas. DJ was just one of them. Graphic design, networking, you name it. Anything creative that didn't have anything to do with math or spelling was basically something that I would try to hustle. I used to be a print broker. I used to throw outdoor rave parties. I was a graphic designer for all of the restaurants. But I've just always had a natural ability to just connect with people and network. So I was always the boss guy, hence El Prez. I grew up in Guatemala. All the guys are like, where's my paycheck? El Presidente. And I was like, oh, okay. When Facebook came around, I was like, I need a moniker because I just didn't want to be on Facebook, another social network. I mean, we had been through Friendster, we had been through MySpace. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Another stupid network, which runs the world now. But, at the time I was like, okay, so El Prez. And it just kind of stuck. It became like the DJ name. And now it's the Instagram moniker. And I had so many followers on Instagram before they did the Great Purge that I was like, well, I'll just keep it. And it's just stayed. But
Gotcha.
yeah, that's a little bit about me. I have dabbled in investing in real estate and mixed martial arts gym and restaurants. I'm still a investor in a restaurant called Upbeat and Yeah Burger in Atlanta. I was an investor in Unit 2 Fitness, which Abraham Gray has, the guy that used to teach at ours, teaching for him now. So it was pretty funny when I learned that. And then beyond that, it's just been how to create a side hustle on top of a side hustle on top of a side hustle has been my life's work. But DJing quickly rose to the top just because I was a responsible DJ and not partying and going to the after parties where all the other guys are like chicks and rock and roll. And, I was like, no, this is a job. So it's been fun. But now I am pivoting into more real estate investing, and we can pivot from that to this.
Okay. So first off, that sounds wild.
It's been a ride.
Yeah. And I guess I do have a question about that is, yes. And maybe you just found a way to deal with it, but how did you structure or organize all of those things you were doing? You said you're in restaurants, DJing, all that stuff, or was that just like, hey, here it is, let's go for it?
So my structure has always been, these are my notes. Just every day I have mail come in, I pay the bill, I take the note from the envelope, or I take the envelope, and then I write down what is my day's structure going to be. So yesterday was this, and I love crossing out, getting the sense of accomplishment, crossing it out, just going through the list. What is the most important factors that I got to do today to get through the day that need to be done this week? Another crazy thing is the wall calendar that you can see is just stacked up. This is kind of a weak month compared to what it used to look like pre-2020, where I was managing 5 nights a week, 5 gigs a night, and 5 DJs at different places, or engagements, or deadlines for graphic design or whatever. But for me, it's literally been visual reminders that I'm writing down. And when I do any classes or anything, I'm always taking notes physically. A lot of people take notes on their phone, which for me, it's great, but I never really go back to it. So what I do with these lists is I compile them over and over until I have a bigger list, and some of those things, fall to the bottom, but it's the important stuff that does get done. And yeah, that, and obviously having an iPhone connected to iCal and these things now, help structure everything, and getting reminders is great. But
Okay.
that's been my technique. It's very old school. I learned
Yeah.
it from my dad. I saw him. My dad was 48 when I was born. He was a iron worker foreman, and he helped build half of downtown Chicago and half of downtown Miami. And so I would just see these notes everywhere. And even when my mom, when I'd wake up, when I lived with my mom, because there was a custody battle, I would wake up on Saturday morning. Here is the list of things you need to do. So I would say I got my work ethic from lists, because I couldn't go out and play until the list was accomplished. So
Gotcha. All right. So then you're pivoting. You're pivoting to real estate. What specifically are you looking to, I guess, what specifically are you looking to get into within real estate? And then I guess, what are you trying to focus on? Is it a skill you're trying to build? Is it, um, just what path are you trying to focus on?
So initially, last year about this time, first of the month, I signed up for Kai Andrews' land hacking class, and me and my wife bought a teeny 700 square foot cabin up in Blue Ridge, Georgia, about an hour from where we live, and some property underneath it, because there was a developer that wanted to literally build 4 spec houses in our backyard, and I preferred for that not to happen. So I was like, all right, so let's hustle some Airbnbs or some glamp sites or A-frames. But digging into it, find out the county doesn't want that sort of thing. So you have to build big, extravagant cabins for them to sign off on anything and actually get it permitted to actually do an STR. So I was a little discouraged by that. The year picked up. 2023 was an epic year for Hip and Hitched, which is one of the DJ companies. And so I got busy, and also, first year of marriage and trying to have kids, and life just started rolling. But as I was doing yard work, or as I was walking the dog, I'm, just getting deep in podcasts. I start listening to Bigger Pockets. I start listening to all of the Bigger Pockets. Get turned on to Rob Abasolo. Obviously knew him before, but also heard Pace, and I was like, what this sounds a little bit more blue collar, a little bit more achievable, a little bit more kind of can break in, zero money down. Not that I was looking for zero money down, because I did sell a house, my house in the city, moved to the suburbs with my wife, and I had a little bit of money to invest. So I kept on conferring with a friend of mine, Jason, and he was just like, man, just be the bank. And I'm like, that sounds great. That sounds awesome. How does that, I'm like, just being kind of facetious. Like, that sounds hilarious. The bank is the enemy, as far as I've always been, taught or felt. It's like the taxes, the bank, those are all the enemies. But you hear about, this guy doesn't pay taxes, so you should hate him, or there's these loopholes and you're never eligible for that. But starting to watch these YouTubes that Pace was putting on, and starting to do some of the other research where the tax write-offs and stuff like that, I quickly realized, okay, so the best way forward for me to pivot would be to real estate. Be able to spend more time doing real estate than I am promoting the DJ or any other biz, and then start writing as much off as possible. So that trajectory took me to Sub 2, and that's where I met amazing people like you. And so I went through the Avatar system, our program, just trying to figure out, okay, what's the best for me. And I came up with, PML. I had some money to invest. Came up with private money partner as well, because I would love to be equity partner of some of these. But you and I, did we met in Phoenix, or we knew each other before that?
Yeah, we met in Phoenix, which cracks me up.
I know,
So
it's crazy.
we both live in Atlanta.
Yeah, so we're both very active in the Atlanta, real estate Sub 2 scene here, and we meet in Phoenix and instantly hit it off. And I realized immediately that, okay, well, in my first meetups, my first 3 meetups, I'd never been to a meetup before. I mean, my life has been networking. My whole life has been putting networking events on, except for music. Hey, we're playing amazing music. We've got a photo booth. We've got art. We've got all these things. Come enjoy it. Come network with each other, or just come commune rather with each other. So my whole life has been this whole roller coaster of like putting on, $150,000 event and hoping people show up, or being part of a $3 or $4 million event and being the DJ and showing or bringing my talents and my artist and saying, look, you guys get together, we're going to provide the vibe. So I never had any, desire to go to a meetup, because it's what I did. It's like DJs don't go to bars to drink. You know what I mean? They're like fed alcohol, because that's how they try to, the bar tries to write you off. They don't want to pay you real money. I've always been like, no, just pay me the money and, I'll have a drink maybe. But it's like, it's taking beach to the sand in a way. So meetups were like, never going to do that. Just never felt like something I wanted to do. Get involved in Sub 2, find out about the meetups. Immediately I meet Pat, who's one of our leaders now, his restaurant, his wife. I'm in the restaurant business. He's an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. Yeah, everybody there was just high vibe. I was just like, wow, this is really amazing. Next day, Eddie Charger, Abraham, Alexis. I'm like, wow, this is like, a lot of the people I've heard on the Get Creative podcast, they're right here in Atlanta. This is ridiculously amazing that we have access to these people. They're high level, high performers, and we can talk to them. You know what I mean? Like, it just felt accessible. So what I realized when we went to Golden Ticket, which was Phoenix, Golden Ticket was a thing that a lot of people that helped give back during Christmas were awarded a trip to go to Phoenix. We had to pay to get out there and pay to stay, but the whole event was free. And we got to network with all the leaders, and that was even higher level of energy. And it was just explosive and amazing. And then we got to see Closers Octagon and all kinds of stuff. And, Corey ended up staying with us. And, it was just like, I mean, community. And so I quickly realized, okay, so really what my role moving forward is going to be connecting, just making relationships and in our industry, connecting means, okay, you're connecting deals together, but that's secondary for me. For me, connecting is the relationship, whether a deal comes out of that or not. That's what the point of, that's not the point. That's the after effect. The point is creating a relationship that's lasting, trusting, and then seeing if we can work out, a deal from there, or work together to work on deals, or to find deals, or to create a squad, to create a team. And that is really what spoke to me, spoke to my person, spoke to my spirit, and, what I'm really pushing into moving forward. I've got a current situation that I'm trying to dispo, and it's taken up a lot of my time, but I'm looking forward to the place when I get past that and I can just move into this full force networking, and I'm doing it along the way, and it's helping me with the dispo of said project. But that's what I really feel the calling as of now. But also teaching, like along the way, I've already begun to teach everything I'm learning to a lot of the people that are newcomers, and just say, hey, look, uh, I'm getting a fire by trial here on some of this, and let me help you learn everything I've already learned in the last 6 months, and not have to experience that. Not that you're not going to have your ups and downs in any industry, but if I can offset that by being a good human and a loving soul, then that's my purpose.
I love that. So for everybody watching, I mean, we're not going to go into the details of what you're going through, but that mentality you have, wanting to help teach people because of the trials you're going through. Like, I just want the audience to understand this isn't like really something you chose. You were kind of thrown into this situation that you're dealing with. So I definitely think that's a fantastic mentality to have.
I don't think there's any other mentality you can have. I mean, you can play victim, of course, and you see America. I mean, you see the world, you see the Western culture permeating, and there's a lot of victimhood to it. And where does that get you? It gets you sulking, it gets you sad, it gets you down on yourself, gets you unmotivated, lazy, depressed, and at a low vibration. And that's no way to succeed. So
yeah, we could have a whole nother discussion on that, because like, I think it's being pushed more so than just like
you and I think very much alike.
Yeah.
We learned that when we.
But that's not what this podcast is about. We're not here to talk politics or anything like that. So, okay, so you're wanting to connect, and the bonus result for you is connecting deals. Are you still going full-fledged into private money lending? Are you keeping that, or are you trying to go straight?
Yeah, it's so the community is pushing, and there's actually a security Zoom tonight that I want to get on. I think for me, it's it coming from the artist, literally abstract, right-minded, no math having, strong abilities. My wife is, she is my golden ticket as far as that's concerned. She gets done to write everything now. But yes, I want to
meet your wife.
Yes, you got to. We need to have dinner sometime soon.
Okay.
Kids too. We need some of that juju. But yes, I am still moving towards lending. I want to continue. The more I've lended, the more I see how little I've gained in the first couple lends, and how much more there is to be made doing the short transitional EMDs, skater type things. But it's so risky. I have an email that I'm waiting on from a gator deal that's going to make 10 grand off of 40 in 6 months, which is a 25% return, which is amazing, because right now I'm making 10% on a couple other 40K drops. And I'm like, wow, if I could be doing this, I wouldn't even be stressed out about this other issue, because the hold costs would be offset, as well as being able to pivot out of the DJ nightlife thing, where I don't need to be in there, basically chasing clients to try to follow up. And I don't want to present my talent for anybody that's just window shopping. I want people that know, hey, this is a good thing, let's book him or his crew or whatever. There's a million guys out there. I've taught and trained half my competition, and that's fine. They're all crushing it, but they're crushing it at a level of income that is unsuitable for where I want to be. So that is the same thing I'm learning with lending. It's like, okay, you get in, you lend small, you lend big chunks over long periods of time as a PML at a 10 to 12% rate, or 14 if you're lucky. But then you can get in as a gator, a transitional lender, a gap lender, and you can double that or triple that, or sometimes make 50% on your money. Those deals are hard to find because there's a lot of competition. There's just a lot of people that bought into Gator. There was a lot of it was a low barrier of entry, so you got to fight for it, which I don't mind doing. It's just finding it and then figuring out if it's safe, and then vetting and trusting. Those are the things, and then waiting. The waiting is that's where you're just like, all right, is this ever gonna when's it gonna come back? But I think once you build it up and build it up and build it up, you stop waiting, because you're getting that pipeline filled. In the beginning, it's more like a waiting game, but
Gotcha. So you said something that I got thinking. You're wanting to do lending to build up and to where you can get out of the DJ scene. Are you at a point? Okay, let me rephrase this question. Are you wanting to get out of the DJ scene because you don't view it as having the capability to increase your income to where you want to be? Or are you just kind of like, you're moving out of that stage of life and you're ready to, I guess, be home at night?
Yeah. Well, both. It's, at one point, like I mentioned, I trained half my competition out there. At one point, I employed half of the city. And the problem is, if you don't get NDAs and structure, and you try to have a bro network and everybody's friends, and it ends up falling apart, because they see, one, you're making more money as the manager, they want that, and it's hard to it's not sustainable unless you really have a structure of, I want to build a giant DJ industry leading business, which for me, it's more about a boutique experience that's high level, that people will pay for at a good rate, and it's sustainable now. Like, I mean, even as little as I have put into it, it's completely sustainable for the average American income. For being single and married, depending on what your budget, or depending on your lifestyle. I'm not fancy, I'm not extravagant. I do like to take snowboarding vacations here and there, but only if they're wrapped up with a deal in Utah that I can go look at. So, but it's more about moving into being a father and being available to offset the parenting. And right now, me and my wife are on completely different time schedules, which is great. Like, I'm being a DJ, my circadian rhythm has been offset for so long that I'm literally on the East Coast, but I have a West Coast bedtime and basically a West Coast day. Most of the time, my day starts around 8:30 a.m. and doesn't stop until 12 or 2, and that's working out, cooking, doing all the things. But mainly, it's business focused, or life focused, or marriage focused. But I want to be available for the kids. So to me, it's not about the money on either side. I could make good money DJing if I wanted to, like really good money. But that would have to put more effort into it. I've been doing it so long that I heard somebody say that no matter where you are in your life, if you've been successful at one thing and you want to pivot away from it, you can't look at that thing and say, oh, I can't just let it die. I don't want to let this die. I'll eventually sell it to one of the guys that I know in town, or, partner with them or something like that. But I want to keep it viable, so it has value. But at the same time, what I was referring to is I've heard somebody say, you know what, you can look at this in your life and say, I did that. And then you can just be like, that's my history now. It's an accomplishment, and it doesn't have to be sold. It doesn't have to be continued. Like, I'll always DJ one-offs for, whoever has the right price, or it's the right situation, or it's the right friend, or whatever, but eventually it's just not sustainable as you keep getting older, unless, you have somebody setting up all your gear and, carrying everything. It gets physically challenging. So moving into real estate just seemed like the better play to offset a lot of that. I think that was the answer, a roundabout.
Yeah, it works. It works. So, let's pivot again and get into these few questions that I ask on every show.
Let's do it.
All right. So, first off, Timo, why did you want to be on the podcast?
Because I love you. Also, because I'm interested in learning my own podcast, and like I was telling you backstage, I was watching old Cody Sanchez, and she's always such an inspiration. And and Pace, and everybody is like, if you're going to be a lender, what's going to validate you? A big challenge for me is going from, hey, like, it's TD. Yeah, he's that party guy. He's like, he's going to throw the badass party and we love him. He's the best DJ. He's our favorite DJ, blah, blah, blah. Or, he's a crazy snowboarder or skateboarder, or he's an artist. He used to throw, these mad paint art parties. Like, but now he wants my money to invest. Like, why should I trust him? What does he know about that? Like, I have to somehow convince people what I'm doing, I'm successful at. You know what I mean? Like, say, hey, look, if you got chunks of money sitting around in the bank, you're getting what kind of percentage on that? Like, what is that really helping you? Let's JV. Let's get you into a PMP. Let's get you into a PML. Let's put your money to work. Whether I just connect you with a deal and I take a point, or just a connector fee, or I get in the deal with you. Let me show you how to put your money to work. The whole "it takes money to make money" is damn true. I mean, it does. And if you have it, then letting somebody else use your money, which is the bank, to make their money, they're lending your money out. Mm-hmm. And we've seen in other countries where sometimes they'll have a bank holiday and you may not ever see that money again. So your money's safer connected to first, or even second, or even third position real estate. I try to stay in first or second, primarily first, but still, like, showing people, hey, look, this is a viable way to increase your net worth, put your money to work. And what I've learned from a lot of these conferences and whatnot is that the wealthy always keep their money moving. It's always moving. And when it moves, it makes money. When it sits, somebody else is making money off your money. And as an entrepreneur, I don't like that. I don't work to make money for other people to make money off of, but I've done it for so long. I've stashed money in the bank and, CDs, bonds, whatever, wherever these people have the ability to take your money and profit from it. We need to take our power back, and let's do that ourselves. So that's what I would like to help people do moving forward.
That is probably the most elaborate answer to that question. I love it. I love it. So then, Timo, why aren't we doing business together?
We aren't doing business together yet. And it's only because of it's only been like 2 weeks since we've really actually known each other. So
yeah, that's true. Feels like longer.
The team building is in process. You, me, Pat, Eddie, Heather. I think there's a squad just organically nucleizing into an Ultraman type of figure that is going to be just Atlanta, the future of the ATL, or the Sticks. Maybe we're the Sticks crew. Who knows?
I like it. I like it. All right. Well, Timo, what would you say are your strengths? Which I think you've hinted at, but what are your strengths, whether it's personal strengths or specifically in business?
Patience. I really think God has given me patience. And it's funny, growing up in church circles, they joke, do not pray about patience, because if you pray for patience, you'll get opportunities to have patience. Again, listening to Cody last night, she's talking about the universe lets you have these big challenges to see how you deal with them. And you're looking at the light at the end of the tunnel and saying, "Oh, I can't wait till this challenge, is done." And then all of a sudden, it's like, "Oh, you did that, great. Here's a bigger challenge." So for me, I think the greatest strength I have is to continue to desire to grow, to keep growing, and never be satisfied, never be satiated with any level of success, or any level of I did that, so now I can just chill. I want to do the next thing. I want to continue to look at the horizons and create. And I think that is, in this day and age where so many are satiated, that is a huge strength. And that, combined with networking, I think you can be limitless. It's really about, where's your mindset, how are you going to implement that mindset and move forward from there.
Fantastic. I love it. I love it. So patience is your strength. What would be your weakness then?
Math and English.
Simple, straightforward. I like it.
Amen. I mean, I can speak, obviously, but like just writing, being an artist, being dyslexic, so abstract, right brain, seeing stuff backwards. Like, I tried coding when I was a younger tyke, and I couldn't do it because I was seeing stuff backwards, and the code never worked. So
Yep.
Thank God for WYSIWYG and all the fun apps we have, like WordPress nowadays, where it makes all that stuff passe. But I think we all have a weakness, and if I was to speak to the greater humanity's weakness that I wish we could all overcome, is our ego. And that ego helps us run from the bear that's flight or flight, that's going to get us, that says, save your ass, go run. And you got a family to provide for, you got a wife and kid, or you got a breath, you got your next breath. But when ego comes into play in your daily life, and it stops you from being able to communicate, or trust, or love, or move forward, or forgive, then it becomes a major issue. And I've lived my life ever since I found the 4 agreements. First, I had the golden rule: treat people as you'd like to be treated. And you can't do that with ego. You have to eliminate ego in order to do that, because if you want to be treated fairly, then you always have to treat fairly. But the mantra that I live by now is the 4 agreements, which is always do your best, never lie, never take anything personal. Freaking huge. And even bigger than that is never assume that you know anything for sure. I'm standing on a wood floor on a second floor. I mean, I'm sitting in a chair at my desk on a wood floor in a house that looks like a barn. I feel like I know that, but I assume I'm correct, but I also assume I could be wrong. It's the best way to go through life is being as zen and ego free as possible. Because if you apply those 4 factors, always do your best, never lie, never assume, and never take anything personal, you really can't get upset. You really can't take anything past the current moment and take it into the future and have a problem with it. So
Interesting. All right. Well, Timo, what do you need help with in the next 30 days that will make you money?
So I mentioned that one gator that I have. So I'm really trying to invest what funds I have, and get some quicker returns because I have to offset this hold that I have going on. That, and I really want to dig into buy and hold and rent. So the next 30 days, I would love to have a line on a JV with somebody. I don't want to do it on my own. Right now, to me, it's all about being a squad and learning from each other and taking the risk and navigating it, and then taking the reward and sharing it. So a buy and hold property that, maybe you and I could work on. Some EMD gap funding that somebody needs. And then also, I would love, I haven't got on the calls a lot. I think I would be good on the phone. It's just, I've been consumed. Just even learning, like, I know, you prop stream and then you people search and you find a number, you call a pre-foreclosure. I know the steps, just never done it. So maybe the encouragement to jump on daily dials or something like that and just get my feet wet. It feels like something I don't have time for, but you don't have time for things that you don't make time for. So
that's true.
Maybe,
so
maybe it's encouragement.
You wanted to get into, or you want a JV on buy and holds. Is there market specific, or are you just open to anything?
No, 100% Cherokee County, Georgia. It's where I'm familiar with now. I've been here for 2 years. There's so much going on. There's been 4 or 5 fixer flips within a few houses of the neighborhood I live in. I think it's a hot market. People are still continuing to move from the big cities to Georgia. This is a more affordable area. It's close enough to the city where they can commute. So yeah, and also at the last meetup, a buddy of mine who lives in Dunwoody just told me about a bunch of studios that are about, I think, NBC Studio, and a bunch of other big developments are coming to Dunwoody. So that's all OTP, outside the perimeter. For anybody in Atlanta, we have a perimeter that's ITP, inside the perimeter. Outside the perimeter, 575, Marietta, Dunwoody, Alpharetta. Within that scope is where I'm looking.
All right. So you heard it here. If you're a wholesaler, or if you got a property you want to sell, you think would be a good long-term rental, reach out to my man. Which kind of brings us into our next thing. Timo, how can people get in touch with you?
So at El Prez is the Instagram. I'm on that often, but TD el Prez, that's TD, my initials, scrolling there nicely. El Prez. So TD el Prez at Gmail. I will get back to you incredibly fast. I'm always on email. So, and from there we can set up phone calls and text and all that. I'm just really good at email for sure.
Gotcha. So if you got something you think fits what Timo's looking for, send him an email and JV on it. And we will definitely be working on something, because I'm looking to buy around that area as well. So let's definitely JV on it. Whether it's, I think honestly what would work for us is probably you being a private money partner, if you think that would work.
Yeah.
So we'll work that out a little later. Well, Timo, that's pretty much all I needed from you.
Love it.
I mean, you gave me way more than I was expecting. I really appreciate it.
Hey man, I'm here to add value to every breath of this life we get to live. So, amen to that.
There you go. There you go. Well, Timo, I'm gonna send you backstage real quick and finish this thing up. All right.
Thanks, y'all. Peace
Thank
out.
you so much. All right, guys. Well, that's our show. Timo was great. Um, long-winded, I'll say. I mean, like, I there's definitely that creative mind, right? I didn't say long-winded as a negative thing. Like, I admire that. I do struggle a lot. I don't know whether it's I think too fast or like right now I'm having a pause moment, but like he's able to just keep flow, which matches. He's a DJ, right? He knows that flow. So definitely reach out to him. I think he's a great person for you to contact. Whoever you are, whatever you want to do, whether it's a business, if you want to buy his DJ business, definitely reach out to him, right? So that being said, I hope you liked the show. Comment below anything you want to see more of, anything you didn't like. Doesn't mean I'll listen, but I definitely want to hear it. Like, subscribe. Oh, wait, I got a button here. Boop. Like and subscribe. Come back next week. And until next time, have a wonderful day.